What's good, college sports fans? It's your boy Big Kool coming to you from S1210 College Sports Most Wanted, and I am back with another video. In this video, I will be discussing the top 10 hardest schedules of 2018. I'm gonna start my way from 10, make my way up to number 1. I'm gonna highlight some games on each schedule briefly. Not gonna try to draw this video out too long. But before I get into the video, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and that post notification bell button for us so you get notified every time we upload content. Now, onto the video. Number 10 on the list is West Virginia from the Big 12. They open up the season against my squad, my team, Tennessee at a neutral site. That is a game they should be favored to win. We regrouping after an abysmal season last year. We got a new coach in Jeremy Pruitt. We're gonna be dependent on the development of Jared Garantano, excuse me. I did a video on him, so you can check it out in the channel down below. But that still should be a tough game, but a game that they should be favored to win. They also got an improving NC State, who went 9-4 last year and 6-2 in the ACC. That is going to be a tough game. That game will take place in Raleigh, North Carolina, September 15th. The following week, they got a game against Kansas State and Bill Snyder them, September 22nd. And they finished with a tough stretch, man. They got a tough 4-game stretch that starts in November with a game at Texas on November 3rd, then the following week against TCU, then November 17th at Oklahoma State, and then they finish up the season against Oklahoma in what should be a shootout. They got Will Greer going into his second year as a starter there, transfer from Florida. He lit it up last year. Their offense is explosive, and I expect them to have a very good season. Number 9, you got Oregon State, who opening up the season against Ohio State at the Horseshoe against the Buckeyes. That is going to be a difficult game, one that I expect them to lose, And then they play Arizona State the 29th, and then they got on October 27th, they traveling to Colorado, and then they also got a tough stretch, man. Starting November, they play USC at home, at Stanford and Washington back-to-back weeks, and they finish up home against Oregon. So they definitely have a tough stretch. I see them possibly winning 7 to 8 games. Maybe I'm being too generous. I need to watch film more and kind of scout out Oregon State, but they testing themselves definitely with this schedule. Number 8, you got the Michigan Wolverines, led by Jim Harbaugh, who is coming off of a mediocre season. They won 8 games last year. That is not going to get the job done over there in Michigan. Doesn't matter how popular or what you've done in the past or what you did in the NFL. That's not going to get it done for Jim Harbaugh in the Michigan Wolverines, who opened the season up September 1st at Notre Dame in a tough game that you probably going to favor Notre Dame in. And then they got Nebraska 3 weeks later at home, which is going to be beneficial to them. Then they travel the following week to Northwestern, which is going to be a tough game. And, of course, October 13th and October 20th, the big defensive battle games against Wisconsin and Michigan State, where they got to travel to East Lansing, Michigan to face their bitter rivals, or one of their bitter rivals. Then they got Penn State, who doesn't have Saquon Barkley, but I know they reloaded at the skill positions under James Franklin, and they're going to be ready to go. And then they finish out November 24th against the ultimate bitter rival, they hated rival, Ohio State at Ohio State, and we'll see how that play out. That game could have Big Ten championship title game implications, depending on how the rest of the season shake. Number 7, you got Purdue, who's on the rise from the Big Ten. They open the season August 30th against Northwestern at home. Then they have to play a dangerous, sneaky Boston College team also at home. Then they travel to Nebraska September 29th in what will be a tough game with new coach Frost back at his alma mater after doing magnificent things at South Florida. He's back home in Omaha, or in Lincoln, excuse me, Nebraska. They also got to play October 20th, Ohio State home, and then they travel to Michigan State. And what's gonna be a tough game. And then also, I was always known to give, anybody fits. They beat Ohio State last year. Really beat their ass. You know what I'm saying? So, Purdue has a shot to have a good, 7, 8, 9 win season. Depends on how everything shakes out. Number 6, Texas, University of Texas, second year under coach Tom Herman, and they open the season against Maryland. Then they play USC for the second straight year. They home this time. They had to travel to Los Angeles last year where they lost, and then they play TCU, which is gonna be a tough game for them. They continuing to get better. Then they got to play at Kansas State. They play Oklahoma in the Red River shootout rivalry game. That's always a great game. And then they got to play West Virginia. There's gonna be an offensive shootout. Got to play at Texas Tech, and they finish out at Kansas. So they got a tough task ahead of them, but they should improve. They got a very good recruiting class that they brought in this past off season. Number 5, you got LSU, who opened it up against the rejuvenated Miami Hurricanes. Then they play, the third week of the year at Auburn in a tough game. Gus Malzahn, after having a successful year beating Alabama, getting to the SEC championship game, they're gonna look to build on that success, and they get that game home. They got to travel to Florida October 6th. In Gainesville won't be an easy game. Then the following week they at home against Georgia. Then they got to go to a Mississippi State team that's gonna be tough. They lost their coach. I can't think of his name off the bat right now, but y'all know what I'm talking about. Then the big one, November 3rd, Alabama. They get them home this time, and that is always a competitive game, and I expect nothing different this year. And they close out against Jimbo Fisher-led Texas A&M Aggies in what will be a very good game, in my opinion. Number 4, Northwestern, led by Fitzpatrick. They at Purdue. They play Duke, which is a good team, the second week, September 8th. Then September 29th, they play Michigan. The following week, they at Michigan State. The following week, they home against Nebraska. 2 weeks later, they home against Wisconsin. And the week after that, they are home against Notre Dame. So they have a very good chance to really move forward in as a program moving forward towards 2019, and kind of open their eyes to other high school players that's looking at schools, so they can deepen their or broaden their notoriety already. And then they play Iowa after Notre Dame, so they got a very tough schedule, and it's gonna be interesting to see how they come out at the end of the season. Number 3, you got Pittsburgh. They play Penn State September 8th. Then they got to play Georgia Tech, who's a good team, at North Carolina, at UCF, at Notre Dame, at Virginia, against Virginia Tech, and at Miami. Miami, Virginia Tech, Notre Dame, I expect those teams to do very well. I expect Penn State to do very well as well. I expect Georgia Tech to have a solid 7, 8 win season. North Carolina the same way. They got some good programs. Duke and North Carolina are known primarily for basketball, but they on the rise in football as well. Number 2, Florida State Seminoles. They open up on Labor Day against Virginia Tech. That's going to be a tough game. They home in that game. And, that is kind of a solid rivalry. I expect them, under their new coach, to struggle a little bit, but I think that's gonna be a very good close battle. They got to go to Syracuse, and I think that's gonna be a good game as well. They got to play Louisville. Don't think they're gonna be as good and as tough with Lamar Jackson now going to the NFL. They got to go to Miami, try to avenge that loss they had last year, because I believe they had like 6 losses last year, Florida State. Then they got to play Clemson, which is always going to be tough. They're going to be the underdog. And they got to go to NC State. I think NC State beat them last year, too. Then they got to go to Notre Dame the following week. So they got a very tough schedule, and they finish out against their in-state rival in Florida. I expect Willie Taggart, the new coach, to, have some success. I think he's going to shock a few of those teams on there. No telling which ones. But I think they're a year or two away or 3 years away from really getting back to where they once was. And number one is the UCLA Bruins under new coach Chip Kelly. They open up against Cincinnati. That's a good game, good team. Then the following week, they travel to Oklahoma. And then they got Washington on October 6th at home. They travel to California October 13th. They got Utah is always tough. Oregon going to be tough. Plus, that's him going against his old school. Stanford and USC and Arizona State going to be tough games. But they get USC and Stanford at home. I think that Chip Kelly is a great college coach. He's a master recruiter. And I think that eventually he's going to get those boys ready to go. But I can't wait. College football, NFL, high school is all around the corner. It's going to be great action, great games all year round, and we're going to see how these top 10 teams do. We're going to revisit the halfway mark, and then we're going to revisit at the end of the upcoming season and look at how these top 10 teams with the hardest schedules did against the teams that they had to play. Leave your comments in the comment section down below. Let me know your thoughts on each team that was on this list. And like I said, this is just ESPN's list. I'll post a link from thespun.com in the description below so you can check it out. I'm pretty sure Bleacher Report and Fox Sports 1 have different top 10 teams they feel have harder schedules. Some same, some different. But like I said, yeah, I'm out of here, man. Peace.